Well, this is it, guys. Finally, we have the release of a new BR that could rival Call of Duty Warzone. This is going to be a full deep dive into what makes RedSec the potential Warzone killer and whether it can really pay off. I'm just going to interrupt the video for just 1 second. This is really important news right at the start. So, the Battlefield RedSec official gameplay trailer is going to launch tomorrow at 3 o'clock UTC, that's 8 o'clock PT or Pacific time. It says that RedSec will be free to play October 28th. So keep an eye out, and we will try and come back to this with some more information. But I'm going to let my video play out anyway. We'll see how close this actually comes to being accurate to what gets released. Interesting comparison coming up. Alright, enjoy the video. The name is Battlefield RedSec, which is DICE's secret weapon. A free-to-play, large-scale, destruction-fueled battle royale that could finally dethrone Warzone. Firstly, to understand why RedSec matters, we need to understand Warzone's dominance. When it launched in 2020, Warzone changed everything. There was fast gunplay, seamless crossplay, constant updates, and the power of the Call of Duty brand. But 5 years later, the cracks aren't just showing. There's full erosion. There's been bloated updates, silly player skins, repetitive seasonal grinds, and it just feels very much dead to the cheater problem. Now, there are promises out of Call of Duty that the game will be improved. They're going all out on cutting back on the skill-based matchmaking. They're going to reduce the amount of cheaters, allegedly. How many times have we heard that? But yeah, what we'll do here is we'll take a quick look at this overlay. As we can see, the player base's decline from 2020 to 2025 has been pretty astronomical, especially in the last 2 years. They lost a lot of players when they introduced Warzone 2 or Modern Warfare 2 Warzone. They gained some back by improving the movement and everything in Modern Warfare 3, and then it fell away again, despite bringing back Verdansk and keeping us trapped in Verdansk for the past, what feels like 2 years. It's not been that long, but this is a map that we had already played for 2 years prior to now. Now enters RedSec. This is Battlefield's answer to everything Warzone got right and wrong. It's built on the Frostbite engine, so it'll be full Battlefield destruction, dynamic weather, vehicle warfare, and it's all going to be in a free-to-play format for the first time for Battlefield. Think of it as Warzone's chaos turned up to 11 with jets, tanks, collapsing buildings, and potentially even storms reshaping the map mid-match. I don't know if that's going to be a thing, but 2042 introduced that as a feature, and it would be really cool if we could see some of that in the game. At the moment, the rumours are that it's going to be limited to 100 players per game. Warzone kept trying to strive for that 120 player count and 150 player count, and it struggled. Whenever they did that, the game became choppy and just didn't run smoothly. So what do we think is going to make RedSec a real Warzone killer? First, scale. Warzone maps feel dense but static. RedSec's map should be alive. Sectors can collapse due to damage from vehicles. We might see terrain shifts and weather changes. We also have vehicles. Warzone gives you ATVs and choppers. RedSec gives you tanks, drones, and full combined warfare. It really will be a different beast in that respect. Whether that will pay dividends or not, we'll see. Personally, I think tanks and attack choppers are probably a little bit overkill for a battle royale experience, but if done right, if the health is managed on those, i.e. the one RPG system that Warzone ended up with, I think we could see a really interesting change to the BR experience. And finally, momentum. EA shifting to a free standalone release mirrors Warzone's original strategy, but with Battlefield's identity intact. So from that, we will see all the Battlefield gameplay, we'll see all the Battlefield destruction, we'll see the Battlefield realism brought into a Battle Royale experience. And I think that will be fun. How they manage the plate situation, finding weapons and ammo, that's all yet to be seen. I think from this, we will see an evolution of the Battle Royale genre. It's a step forward. No matter what you think, it's going to force Warzone to adapt. It's going to improve that game as a result. But it's also bringing new things that Warzone was always too scared to do. Warzone succeeded initially because it evolved constantly. It also burned out its players. RedSec's rumoured seasonal roadmap is leaner, fewer but more meaningful updates built around shared progression with Battlefield 6. That means your skins, ranks, and unlocks carry across both titles, something Warzone fans have been seeing and pretty much from day one. The only downside Warzone's had is on new iterations of the game, you've lost all that progression. You've lost all the weapons you've unlocked, you've lost all the player skins you may have even purchased, so you paid real money for those things, and they're gone. So one thing I would hope is that Battlefield 6 carries those into the future iterations of this game if it's a success. Personally, I'm taking a step back from purchasing skins and things. I spent a lot of money on Warzone and I just burnt out really badly, and I've just not felt the need to go back. Of course, we've heard all of this before from the Battlefield team. Firestorm was supposed to be Battlefield's answer to Warzone, but it was paywalled, full of bugs, and forgotten. This time, EA seems to have learned. RedSec launches free, cross-platform, and with full support from DICE's primary team, not a side studio, which is a change to how Warzone approaches things. The biggest issue Warzone had with doing this is the multiple studios that they had involved. We had Infinity Ward, we had Raven, we had Sledgehammer, we had Activision, all having input into the games between each Warzone update. These interactions between the studios often made the game feel broken and like glued together. With Battlefield being the main studio and not a side studio developing their VR experience, I think we can be confident that we'll see less of that. Now, there are risks to this, obviously. Being the Warzone killer isn't easy. Free-to-play comes with cheaters, live service fatigue, and the challenge of constant balance patches. If RedSec launches with bugs, poor optimization, or weak content updates, hype will die fast. EA needs to prove it can sustain a live shooter long term, not just launch one. So, can RedSec really kill Warzone? Maybe not overnight, but for the first time in years, Battlefield feels dangerous again. Free large-scale destruction-driven VR that looks and feels like nothing else on the market. If DICE executes, RedSec won't just compete with Warzone, it could refine what Battle Royale means. Personally, I'm optimistic and very, very ready to drop in. So if you've made it this far, I want to say thank you. This has been a fairly straightforward video to put together, but I appreciate you staying to the end. My feelings around this are that we need this game, even if it's just to force Warzone to be brought back from the depths and back to what it initially was. I feel like Battlefield coming forward with all these changes are just going to force Warzone in the right direction. So the release date is tagged as the 28th of October. As you may be aware, that's tomorrow. But you'll have to let me know your thoughts. If you've enjoyed this discussion starter, then please do enter some comments down below. Let's talk about it. If you haven't already, like the stream, subscribe. If you're watching on mobile, please hit the hype button, and let's see if we can get this video out there ahead of release, because I really want to fire up all those players out there that are looking for a new, rounded Battle Royale experience to try this game. Let's work it all out together. Let's make sure that we feel, as a player base, this is a fully rounded solution. And if it's not, we can feed that back to DICE and Battlefield. Hopefully, off the back of that, we'll see changes that improve the game, not just fall away like Call of Duty has. Anyway, as I say, drop a like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you on the front lines. Okay, bye.